York's very own muscle building coaches, Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian, proudly present to you New York Muscle Radio.
What's up, guys? New York Muscle Radio, episode number 166. Gaining fat, but not muscle? 4 mistakes that you're making. It's your host, Anthony Bevilacqua, alongside my co-host, Big Pete Kacharian. If you're a new listener, welcome to the best muscle-building, fat-burning, get-strong fitness network on the planet. And guys, we're letting you know you can get our free 12-week training program if you head on over to newyorkmuscleradio.com/getjacked. It's our free gift to you. It's a 12-week program that's going to get you jacked, like my co-host here, yoked. What's up, big guy? How you feeling, yoked? Remember that term? Yoked.
Yeah, man, it's funny because we were just talking about the old terms that people used to use since we were talking about this podcast topic, and that old term perma-bulk used to be around. Does anybody still do that anymore?
Perma-bulk? I wish I could perma-bulk. I never want to diet ever again.
I know, but you know what's crazy now? Nobody cares about bulking anymore.
Nah,
you know,
everybody wants to be really strong. That's it.
Strong or lean. That's it. It's not about looking like a bodybuilder or building muscle, burning fat. It's just, I want to just get strong, or I want to just get lean so I could put abs up on Instagram.
Yeah, everything is Instagram. Instagram.
I think that's why people want to be strong too. You know, because they want to post a video on Instagram of them deadlifting 500 pounds or whatever it is. You know,
dude. What about that video I sent you of a guy? He claims he weighs 210. He looks like he's 150, and he deadlifted 910. I couldn't believe that when I saw it. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, that was the first thing I thought was, holy shit, this guy says he's 210 and he looks like he's 160. Then I realized, oh wow, was he deadlifting? 910.
But one thing
then I realized how much weight was on the bar. You know?
The one thing that I don't understand either with any of these like videos when you see things like that, how don't these guys accidentally build muscle? Like, how aren't you accidentally
yoked? I say that all the time, man. I say that all the time. I don't know.
If you deadlift 900 pounds off the floor, how do you not look like you deadlift 900 pounds off the floor? You know, if that guy walked up to you and he's like, yeah, I deadlift 900 pounds, you'd be like, oh, okay.
Honestly, you know what? I'd have to say it comes down to two things. And first of all, it's very hard not to accidentally put on muscle when you're moving that kind of weight. It's very hard not to accidentally just put on muscle. But if you have a really bad diet and your training is not really, to deadlift 900 pounds, your training has to be pretty optimal. But you could do a lot of things wrong and still get very strong. You know what I mean? Because some of these guys go in the gym, he might just deadlift. He might not do anything other than just deadlift.
Maybe. Yeah, but then when he turns around, his back should look like Phil Heath's.
In theory, but again, there's two parts of it, training and nutrition. If you don't have both of them down, then something's definitely going to slack, that's for sure.
I mean, obviously, we know it's leverages when it comes to certain lifts like that. People are built differently. Yeah. People with long arms can deadlift more, but still, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight.
You're still picking 900 pounds up off the ground.
That's a lot of weight, yeah. And I mean, but the deadlift is the one exercise out of anything you could pick in the gym where you can lift a lot of weight and not necessarily show it in your physique compared to something else. Like if you were squatting 900 pounds, you're gonna bet that person has some huge legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder what that kid squats. Wish I knew his name.
He probably squats like 5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have time to pull that up.
At best. I'm willing to bet because he had some pretty small legs too.
They really were.
Should we shout this guy out so people listening to this know who we're talking about? I don't even know who we're talking about.
I don't even know his name.
Oh,
I don't even know his name to shout him out.
Everyone's going to be listening to this thinking, who's this guy that they're talking about?
Yeah, I randomly came across it and I'm like, no way. His form is really good. I'm not like taking anything away from him. Like I'm not hating on him that he deadlifted 910, but I just don't understand that. We've seen that before. How these guys, how don't you even lift?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. See, me, my goal always, even when I focused on strength training, was to have it impact my physique. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I would always consider myself, or my training or whatever it is that I'm doing, I would consider it a failure if I got stronger without getting some extra size in return. And again, that's just based on my goals. I'm not saying that this guy should be getting stronger, that he's failing at his goals. But, if that was my focus, I would definitely be putting a little more effort into getting bigger as well.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Who knows anymore, man? What can you do, right?
But hey, it's a cool video. He posted it on Facebook. He got a lot of likes, and I'm sure if it's on Instagram too, it got a lot of likes as well. And he probably got some new followers, and he accomplished what everybody else on Instagram's trying to do and get those likes and get those follows.
Yeah, it definitely was shared a lot. So listen, good for him, right?
Hey, if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up his videos. I only see deadlift. I don't see anything else. He didn't accept my friend request
He probably
yet. So.
just deadlifts. I wouldn't be surprised, man.
I don't know, man. Whatever, it is what it is. So what else is going on with you, man? How's everything else? Your hair's growing back in?
Yeah, so nobody's actually seen this because again, people only listen. They don't see this. But yeah, so my head was almost.
Yeah, you're not gonna post a picture of your hair.
My head was almost completely. Bald. Actually, it was buzzed down almost to the skin, and it's growing back there. We'll see what happens if the faux hawk's gonna make a comeback. Probably not. But again, it might come back.
Who you lying, man? You're gonna put it back.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, you're leaving everyone in such what a cliffhanger you leave.
Yeah, guys. If you wanna see what happens, follow me on Instagram at Jacked Fitness, JAKKED Fitness. Give me a follow.
Actually, guys, I want to thank you because I was mentioned in the last couple of podcasts. I finally hit 10,000 followers on Instagram, so I'm excited about that. Just one of those numbers that I was looking to see, that little K. So thank you guys who followed me at AB Fitness, but thank you. Appreciate that.
Are you doing your 10,000 follower giveaway appreciation?
Is that what I have to do?
I have no idea, man. I think people do that just to draw attention. Like, hey, look, I got 10,000.
Yeah, no one really gives a fuck.
I know. People think that other people really care about stuff that's so meaningless. It's like not even funny.
Yeah, like you.
Everyone's so concerned with themselves. You know
Deflecting
what I mean?
the question.
What do you mean about me? Like me?
Oh, you were talking about that picture you wanted to post before. I'm like, Pete, do you really think people really give a fuck if you post it or not?
That's true. That's
you. So you're talking about yourself.
Hey, listen, I never said that I'm not one of those people. I'm just saying people in general. And a lot of times when I talk about things that other people need to work on or improve on, it's because I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah. Right. So how's the love life, man?
Love life is pretty good, man. It's pretty quiet.
Wow.
It's pretty quiet
Holy
on my
shit.
end. It's good.
Answer the question. Holy shit. You knew you weren't going to get around that one. That's why.
I figured I'd surprise you today and, answer the question.
Pigs must be flying outside, man. All right, guys, I want to talk about our Maximizing Testosterone course that we have coming out very soon. Super excited. It's almost done. Tomorrow is our last day of filming. Yes, filming. We are doing this like an actual course and a class, and you're going to learn so much from it. I'm just so excited for it, man. I'm excited for the production value of it and how everything has just improved. I'm just super excited for it. I can't wait to finish recording tomorrow. And we could put the finalizing touches because this program is going to launch Monday, the 17th. April 17th is when it's going to launch. So, guys, if you're interested in this program, make sure you get on that pre-launch list. Head over to newyorkmuscleradio.com/maxtest. And super excited for it. We're going to have a huge launch party for it, and we're going to discount it right away. So, for those of you who, as a thank you for you guys who helped us create the course, and we've listened to all your feedback on it and have implemented everything you guys wanted. So, just excited, man. Moving up in the world, right?
Yeah, man. This is the first presentation I've given since I'm probably like 10 years old that I was actually excited to do. You know?
What were you excited to do at 10 years old?
Probably like the spaceship project or something like that in elementary school, talking about outer
always
space.
Loved presenting in school.
Did you?
I never hated it. Yeah, I was
never
afraid. I could get up in front of the class and just talk and talk and talk. I didn't care.
You know what it was, though? I mean, the topics I've had to give presentations on were never something that I was excited about. This is something, every podcast we do is like considered almost a presentation. And I'm excited to do every one of them because this is stuff that I love talking about. I know you do too. In school, when it's like, all right, you got to give a presentation on I don't know. There was one year where I had to they gave out one country to every student in the class. And you had to do like the whole project and presentation on everything about that country.
Oh, I had to do that too.
Yeah, and I got I was young. I don't remember what grade this was in. I think this might have been like 5th grade or something like that. And I had what did I get? I got Aruba. I got picked out of a hat. I got Aruba, and some kid in the class wanted to trade me really bad, and he had Costa Rica. So I did it on Costa Rica, and then I realized afterward that Aruba is probably there's this coolest stuff I could say about Aruba than Costa Rica. So I got duped.
What else is new? See, this was the trick, man. Yeah, for me anyway, what I used to do is I used to find the smartest kid in the class, and because usually the smartest kids are usually the shyest, so you have to go to the smartest kid and say, "Listen, let's partner together. Let's do this." Have the kid do all the work, and then you just present it. It's the easiest thing.
Yeah, man. See, so you're giving away your secrets here. Pete does all the work, and then you just
Yeah,
present
I
it,
know.
right?
Pete does all the work. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Pete does all the work. Yeah, we know. How many people? No. Let's call out the facts, man. You want to call out the facts? How many people have hit you up on Instagram that you've yet to shout out? How long has that been going on? Remember in the beginning, how often that used to happen? They used to come to me and say, "Oh, I used to tell Pete to give me a shout out." Now he forgets.
Oh, yeah. That was a while ago, man. No, but we don't do that anymore, though.
I know we haven't shouted anyone out in a while. It
Yeah,
kind of felt.
we should bring back. I
thing.
forgot about that. I'm not even gonna lie. I forgot.
Yeah,
So, guys, I wasn't ignoring you. I actually just forgot.
Yeah, he's deflecting the question, guys. This is what he
No,
does.
I just answered. I forgot about it.
Yeah. We should bring that back. I don't know if people want to hear their names again. I just felt bad butchering everyone's names. Kind of why I just stopped.
Yeah, that was like a signature part of New York Muscle Radio.
Yeah, butchering people's names. You're right. So, guys, the test program, again, dropping April 17th. So, again, be sure to be on that list, NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/max-test, and find out all about it. So, I want to tell you about this, man. This was right up your alley. So, there was a dead mouse found in a bag of My Protein powder. So, now I have to backtrack a little bit. Early on in the beginning of this podcast, My Protein wanted to join up with New York Muscle Radio, and we just kind of didn't. We never got past a certain point with them, and I'm so glad that we didn't. I did like their stuff in the beginning, but after saying this, I'm like, dodged a bullet there, man. In the very early episodes, remember that?
Yeah. So they sent us a bunch of stuff, and we got to try out a lot of their products. They think they sent us some BCAAs. They sent us some casein protein powder. I remember because I had like an abundance of that. I think they might have given us whey isolate as well. That's all I remember. I don't remember anything else that we got, and it was all basic stuff. And I don't really have anything good or bad to say. It just kind of was what it was. It was protein powder. It was aminos. It did the job. But they're basically everywhere. They're really big in the UK. But yeah, this is like a real black eye for them. That I don't think anybody really knows what the real story is. But apparently, it is true that there was a dead mouse, like it was like a baby mouse in a bag of My Protein. But
yeah,
but nobody knows whether it came from the factory like that. If it got, if the mouse got in the bag, who knows what the story is? But it doesn't look good for them.
Yeah, I don't think the kid put the mouse in there because this mouse is like totally full, and it looks like he has pictures of the mouse. It looks like there's like protein powder in his like ears, and it's disgusting. He said that the supplement in the picture is from major international company My Protein. Hasn't mentioned exactly what protein supplement it is. So it could be any one of their products. So he didn't say, the kid's not saying anything. He just posted up the pictures. That's crazy, though, man. Can you imagine scooping out protein and there's a mouse?
I'd never buy protein powder again, honestly. I would just have no faith left ever.
And the picture, too, you can't even really tell. Like, so he took it out and put it on a piece of paper towel. But when you open the thing, you can't, like he took a picture of it inside the bag.
Yeah.
You can't even really tell. Like, you have to really look close and you see it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, well, how hard is it to find the scooper in the bottom of a protein bag to begin with?
Yeah,
or,
dude,
or
imagine,
tub,
imagine sticking your hand in there and feeling something like that. I'd freak out, dude.
Man, I don't even want to think about that. I've never found anything like that in any of my food or any of my products ever, so let's keep it that way.
Listen, I'm sure shit like that happens. Yeah. I'm definitely sure shit like that happens. Maybe the mouse got in there before the bag was sealed. I mean, who even knows? So you can't even really blame My Protein for this, but still, man, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
They better compensate that guy. They better give him a lifetime of protein. Yeah.
They're saying, My Protein is saying that based on their, the precautions they take in their facility, it's almost impossible that mouse got in that bag. So I don't know if they're saying that, there's no way they shipped it out with that mouse in that bag or what. But nobody knows at this point. So
I mean, the kid could have also just put it in there.
That's what people. That's what people are saying. They're not saying that. Okay, the customer definitely just put it in the bag to try to make us look bad. But they're saying that based on the way they produce their stuff, it's almost impossible for a mouse to actually get in the bag. I don't know what that means, but that's what they're saying.
Then we've been talking about this a lot lately with companies.
Yeah, but this is what's going on. It's not
I
like
know,
we're
man.
not looking for this stuff. It's popping up left and right. You know?
I know, and it makes me. I just always give it like a sigh of relief every time I like. At least I know my stuff is real.
Yeah, because you don't have to bother trying to go through other people now and worry about all this stuff happening. You know?
I know, dude. Imagine. I take BCAAs to the dome. Imagine one day doing that, not looking.
Yeah, you end up with a
Oh,
mouthful of mouse.
Oh God! I mean, it's a baby mouse, but still, man, that's
yeah,
horrible.
big difference.
Yeah, it is, man. You ever see a rat? You ever see a New York City rat?
Yeah, of course I've seen a rat. I mean, a mouse and a rat are two different things, man.
Oh, I know.
I've seen some rats bigger than my dog.
Yeah, easily. Well, you got a manly looking dog, though, man. Nice poodle.
Yeah.
Toy poodle.
Yeah, she's beautiful, man.
All right, man. You got something that you want to talk about that we mentioned that we were talking a little bit about earlier, and I said, hold on, let's talk about this on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I was just talking to you about that too. I don't know all the facts to get the actual factual statements here, but so actually a popular Instagrammer goes by the name, I believe it's Musclehead 320 or 230. I don't remember what his handle is on Instagram. You could probably look him up right now. But he was pretty popular with the steroid community in the bodybuilding, the section of the bodybuilding community, the guys that are big on the steroids, and he actually got arrested, I believe, yesterday. This just happened. He's from Massachusetts because he was counterfeiting steroids out of a tanning salon, believe it or not. So a lot of these guys that are putting themselves out there on social media talking about drugs and all this stuff, people always say, oh, it's really stupid, don't put yourself out there like that. And yeah, it's true. And these people, even big famous people or famous in the fitness community, like Rich Piana puts all that out there about drug use and everything. And people say, oh no, it's safe. It's also, it could all just be speculation. But these guys are putting it out there and they're getting popped, and it's stupid.
They're getting popped.
They're getting popped left and right, and we're seeing more and more of it. There was stuff going on in California. People were getting raided. There's a lot of shit going on, so you guys got to be careful if you're doing that stuff. Don't be stupid about that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's illegal, so that's first and foremost. This stuff is illegal, and it's not an easy. It's not a safe thing to be doing randomly. And this is the other thing too. I mean, even if you wanted to go down that route, I mean, we've talked about steroids on this podcast before. Even if you wanted to go down that route, because it's illegal. Where are you getting it from? The guy at the gym? How do you know that he's not making it in his house? And that's a serious thing to be then injecting yourself with something that someone made in their house.
Yeah.
How do you know what they have running around in the house? Maybe they have mice.
I know,
too.
right? You got legitimate companies and you got mice in the bag. What do you think the criminals have going on with their business?
Yeah. Actually, they're probably cleaner.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, go figure. They're probably more legitimate than the legitimate companies. I'm probably exaggerating, but you get my point.
But something that you're gonna inject in yourself, or something that you're gonna you could look at that before you eat it. You know what I mean? The shake, you could look at it. Can you imagine if he didn't pay attention and put in the shaker bottle and started shaking?
Oh my god, man!
Or he tried to make a pancake with it and just poured it in.
Yo, dude, he made a pancake and it was a mouse in the pancake.
Oh god! But yeah, you get the idea. I mean, and can you imagine having to inject it? You don't know what's in there.
Yeah, well, you guys gotta be.
What if the stupid guy made his chicken before he decided to make the stuff?
And when you got
salmonella
in there, yeah, you know what, that could happen too. I mean,
yeah, that's very well. Maybe he's cooking while he's making it.
Well, that's a thing with anything, and it's not just illegal stuff. I mean, it's the same thing too. Like, you guys gotta be careful even where you go. I mean, to me, it's crazy. But when you go to eat out at restaurants and places that don't look clean or cleanly, and people just eat, like when you go travel and you find like a greasy grill somewhere, like a deli or a trashy place, and you make your bacon, egg, and cheese. I've gotten salmonella like that before, and it's crazy to me that people do that like on a regular basis. I'll never do that again. But that's with anything. You get contaminations anywhere where things aren't sanitary and you're putting them in your body.
Here he goes, Howie Mandel.
No, man, it's not. Listen, I just told you I got salmonella, so I'm speaking from experience here. This is not me being paranoid. I'm saying, listen, if you eat at places that aren't cleanly, or if you put things in your body that are not sanitary, you're probably going to get sick. So you guys got to be careful. And this comes down to anything. If it's food, if it's drugs, if it's supplements, whatever it is, you guys just be careful. That's all.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's been even clean restaurants that are dirty too.
Yeah.
I've like seen some of the kitchens in some of these places. They're clean, and the kitchen's disgusting. And you would be surprised at what passes too. Like was that the USDA? I forget what comes by the FDA.
Yeah.
What comes by with the health department,
The
whatever.
health department,
They give
yeah.
the grades. In New York, they give out a grade for every place, and you'd be surprised what an A actually entails. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
when you see a B, you're like, all right, it's not that bad. But then you
No,
realize it's a
B's
lot
like
worse.
there.
No, I know, but I'm
A-
saying, like,
A
if you
is
don't
not
know, I'm
Dude,
saying
just because it's A, it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
it's what you think it is either. I've seen what an A kitchen looks like, and it's
Uh-huh.
disgusting.
Yeah, see, that's bad. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's
when
what I mean. Like sometimes it's better off not even thinking about it. Let's move on, man. I don't even want to talk
Guys,
about
just cook all your food at home and never leave the house. You'll be all right.
Yeah,
Put a bubble around your head. You'll be fine.
Yeah, around your house. That's it. Just work out at home. Don't leave
Yeah,
the
don't
house.
leave the house,
You'll get
guys.
huge that way.
Yeah.
Grow all your food.
You'll
Get a
never
cow,
get
a
sick.
chicken. You'll never get a Bubble Boy.
Bubble
You ever watch
Boy.
that movie?
That's a great movie.
I never saw it. Is it
Really?
good? Yeah.
It's a great stupid movie. It's like one of those terrible movies, but it's still great.
Really? I just watched Inception for the first time. That was a great movie.
I can't believe you took that long to see that movie. How long has it been out now?
I have no idea. I
Yeah,
couldn't
it's
even
a
tell
great
you. That was a
movie.
good movie, man.
Very
I
good
can't
movie.
believe Leonardo DiCaprio. He gets an Oscar or whatever it was for that movie, The Revenant. That movie sucked.
Yeah.
All these other movies he did were great. That
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
sucked, and he won an
no.
Oscar for it. I was like, go figure.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know. All right, guys, let's move on to the fitness soundbite of the day. So Pete's got the clip today. Pete, what's today's clip about before we play it?
So it's a clip from Dorian Yates on London Real, and he talks about breaking out of your comfort zone. So he's talking about training and going beyond your comfort zone, but he's also applying it to everything in life. So here's a little clip from Dorian Yates.
If you're going to work in your comfort zone, why is your body going to adapt and change? It has no stress. Muscle growth is an adaptation to a stress, yeah? So if you're used to this level of stress, your body's not going to change. Guys come to start training, their body's not used to anything, right? So anything is going to be a stress. Pretty soon the body starts to adapt. And you see people, they will grow and they'll progress for maybe a year, 18 months. And after that, they don't really get anywhere. Because now your body's got used to that. Now you've got to, every time you've got to push beyond. You know, you feel good when you've pushed past your limits.
That's where all the fun happens, right?
That's the satisfaction of going there and, you know, every impulse is telling you not to do this because it's hurting like hell, you know? And it's tough, but it's like a habit. If you can overcome that, it's going to be easier next time. And that's like life. If you're going to just fold and fall down, this is good chance you're going to do that next time, and next time it becomes a habit, you know?
And in other parts in your life. You do
Yeah,
that
as
too.
well. That's what
Dorian Yates. Who was he, 6-time Mr. Olympia?
I believe so, yeah.
Did you ever read his book?
No, you read his book?
Yeah, I have it somewhere.
What was that called again?
It's behind me. I can't reach the cabinet
Was
to
it
go get
called
it.
Blood
Man.
and Guts? Was that the book too?
I don't know.
I believe there was a different name for the book. That was his DVD, man. Yeah, he was one of those guys that his mentality was just so much different than everyone else's, and it was definitely one of the reasons that he was, 6-time Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, his book is called A Portrait of Dorian Yates, The Ultimate Bodybuilding Guide from the Ultimate Bodybuilder. He was huge, man.
Yeah, well, he was one of those
What do you
guys.
think he was on?
Well,
He was natural, right?
yeah, he was natural, guys. He used a lot of New York Muscle Radio products.
And he ate a lot of chicken.
Yeah. No, he at his era basically, that was when, so there was the Arnold era. Then after Arnold there was Lee Haney when Lee Haney was Mr. Olympia, and he was a little bit bigger than Arnold, a little bit different physique, and then there was like the Dorian Yates era, which came after that, where it was like, holy shit, he's so much bigger than everybody else. So something drastically changed from the time of Lee Haney's era to Dorian Yates' era. And at that time, it was pretty much, apparently, at that time was when growth hormone and insulin was really prevalent. And, that's a speculation of what he was using that everybody else wasn't. Who knows what it was, but that's probably has something to do with it.
Yeah, so basically, I remember buying this book and looking at it, the workout portion, because that's what I was, so I'll just try to get big like this guy. This is before I knew anything, So I pulled out his workout, this book, and I looked at the workout. So basically, it does every body part once a week, but it's like one set to failure, so I'll just read a random workout. So his delt workout here. Smith machine presses, one set of 15, and he has poundages there. One set of 12, one set of 8 to 10, one all-out set. Then he did seated laterals for one set of 12. Then he did one-arm cable laterals, one set of 20. Then he did dumbbell shrugs, one set of 12. And then he did triceps. One set of 15 reps on a push down. One set of 12, one set of 8 to 10. Then skull crushers, one set of 12. And then he did like machine stuff, one set of 8 to 10 reps. And then he did abs. Funny thing is, his abs, he would do regular crunches and then reverse crunches. 3 sets of 20 to 25 reps.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, his thing was he trained with Mike Menser, who was big on the high intensity training, or the heavy duty training as he called it, which was basically that one set to failure. And then he kind of took it a step further, and he started training body parts once a week, and he started training beyond failure. So he really was popular. He popularized the rest pause sets, the strip sets, the drop sets, and all that stuff, the beyond failure training. And that was his whole philosophy, and I guess that ties into what he's talking about as far as pushing beyond your comfort zone. And, that definitely has its place. And, obviously it worked for him, especially with how far he took his career. But that was his training method. And whatever training method you do follow, the truth is you do always have to progress with it. So if that's what your training style is and you're doing one set to failure, you're not going to keep seeing results just training with one set to failure. You're going to have to take it a step up and go those extra, do those extra supersets, those drop sets, those rest pause sets, and everything like that. If you're training with volume, and you probably should be, depending on what your goals are and where you're starting out, eventually your body's going to adapt to that level of volume, and you're going to have to increase it. You're going to have to change more things in your training. You're never going to be able to do the same thing from the time you start till the time you finish. There's always going to be a natural progression to that. And like you said, with anything in life as well, not just training.
Yeah, so in this book, they also have his off-season diet. And I always used to find these things so interesting, so I might as well talk about it on the podcast here. So he basically have 1, 2, 3, 6 meals a day, so it totaled 5,000 calories. So I'll read it to you. So for breakfast, he would have 6 egg whites with 2 yolks, a bowl of oatmeal, 50 grams of raisins, 3 slices of whole wheat toast, 1/4 of a pint of skim milk, an orange, a multi-mineral, and amino acid tablets. Then mid-morning, he would have a pint of skim milk blended with 2 scoops of milk and egg protein, and again another orange. Then he had for lunch 7 ounces of tuna, 100 grams of pasta, 2 oranges, a carbohydrate drink, and then amino acid tablets again. He would work out. Then after training, he would have a pint of milk with 2 scoops of protein powder, 3 bananas, 2 protein bars. His evening meal would be 8 ounces of chicken or steak, a baked potato, mixed vegetables, pineapple, amino acid tablets, and then for supper, this is what he has in the book, supper. 5 egg whites, 1 yolk, 1 slice of whole wheat toast, 25 grams of raisins, and again another boost of amino acid tablets. So basically, he does with the amino acid tablets what we do with the BCAAs.
Yeah. And you know what I like about Dorian Yates, too, and I don't think you'll find it anywhere in his books or in his DVDs or anything like that. He did adhere a little bit to more of a flexible dieting approach, especially more so than a lot of other top IFBB pros. And I do believe more of them actually do follow it to some degree than they like to admit, just because it doesn't really fit well with the image when you talk about, okay, I could fit in a chocolate bar or something like that here and there. But I did see an interview with him way later after he retired where somebody was talking to him about burning fat and losing weight. And he even said at one point that as long as he's in a caloric deficit, he doesn't really care too much about the food sources he's eating, provided his protein is adequate. And he said somewhere in there that, like, if he wants to fit in a chocolate bar or something like that, as long as he's in a calorie deficit, he's fine with that, So I think he was a little more open with it later after he, after he retired. But who knows? He could have possibly been using that strategy dieting down too. A lot of stuff you guys see in the books and in the magazines are what's more sexy, you know what I mean? And they might not say the real truth a lot of times. Who knows?
Yeah, so actually in this book, he also has 10 tips to eating success. And he says the first tip is obtain a nutritional book that lists the calorie amount and protein, carb, fat breakdown of all the food products. So you're right, he did follow kind of flexible dieting. And then the other tip on here that I want to mention here because it's a good tip. Keep a formal written record of your diet so that you can accurately make and assess changes when required. I mean, these are things that we've told you guys also, but it's just cool hearing it from Dorian Yates.
Yeah, he was very meticulous. You know, he may not have had the most optimal strategy for training, at least especially for natural athletes, but as far as the way he progressed with everything, with building muscle and with burning fat, he used a progression scheme. You know, he understood the fact that I either have to add more to gain more weight, I have to push more in the gym to put on more muscle, and I have to cut more to diet down, to lose more fat. So his mindset was on the numbers and progression with that, which is where your mind should be.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, man, let's move on to the listener question of the day. Guys, if you have a question you'd like us to answer, you could submit it on our website, newyorkmuscleradio.com/listener question. So today's question is from James H. He says, hey, I love your podcast. I've been listening for a while now, and every episode is always great. Something rare for many fitness podcasts. Thank you, buddy. I had just a quick question I wanted to ask. What do you guys think is the most basic training tip that anyone of any range of fitness and age should take with them? I work at a gym at my college and get this question asked a lot. Just wondering what your thoughts are. Thanks for being one of my favorite podcasts.
Man, that's a good question. If only one tip, it's like I could give so many, you know. And I think going kind of with the topic that we were already just talking about, I think that's honestly one of the best tips anybody could have. With fitness, change comes from progression. You know, you have to force some type of progression, whether it's in the weight room by adding more weight. You know, if you're trying to gain weight, adding more calories, and the same thing, even in reverse, if you're trying to lose weight, you're going to have to cut stuff out. So there needs to be a progression. You're not going to continuously see progress doing the same thing. You're not going to get, even if we're not talking about building muscle and burning fat, if you're trying to get more healthy, if you're trying to increase your endurance or your speed or anything like that, if you go run on a track, you do 2 miles a day, every single day, after a certain point, you're not going to get better at it. You're going to have to do more. You're not going to get more efficient at doing the same thing. So whatever you do in fitness, you always have to progress with it.
Yeah. I would say my thing would be keep track of everything that you're eating. I think that's the most important thing. A lot of people, especially when it comes to diet, always look for the magical foods or the magical things. Just keep track of your calories, protein, carbs, fats. Even if you can't do all that, just keep track of your calories. Just have an idea of what you're doing. And if, again, it's very simple. If you want to gain weight, up the calories. If you want to lose weight, just decrease the calories. It really has nothing to do with what you're eating. So many people think that it's their foods they're eating, their food choices. Oh, or there's some magical program out there. Like Dorian Yates said, you know, we just mentioned it. Just focus on the calories, and that's all that matters. Like, you know, if you want to be in a caloric deficit and have a candy bar, that's fine. But you have to know what a caloric deficit is for you. So picking up something like Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code would be probably the best option you have. So I would say write it down. I would say my tip would be to write it down. Write everything down. You know, even that if that's in the gym too, right? Keep a log of everything. Because like I've always said, your body's your own science experiment. You have to have the detailed notes on it to know what works and what doesn't. And you have to not be willing to try. Here we go, going with more tips. But you have to be willing to try everything. You can't try one thing and say, oh, this doesn't work. That's it. I'm done. You know, it's not like that. You have to be able to try new things, and because you never know when you might stumble upon something that really works well for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason me and Anthony know that what works and what doesn't is because we've tried it all. We're not speaking on speculation here. You know, it's based on experience. And, you know, we had to go through all those phases where we tried stuff, we didn't get results, and we tried something and, you know, we got some results and we had to figure out how to make it even better. So that all comes from trying different things. And I think if you document what it is that you're trying, you'll be able to accurately assess, okay, if this is working or if this is not working.
Yeah, one of the things that we didn't try was like a keto bulk. And one of our good friends is actually doing a keto bulk, but it's been like 2 to 4 weeks that they've been following that keto bulk, and they just like said they just stopped. I just got word that they actually stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't
gave
know.
up on it.
Oh, really? Why it wasn't working?
Yeah, they just said, oh, it just wasn't for me. I eat carbs now. That was the answer that I got. But I was like, oh,
wow,
hey, come on,
I
man.
didn't hear that. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you,
you have to try something like that for at least 2 to 3 months at least.
I didn't think that was going to work just based on what a keto bulk would require, because it's very hard to get in. I've actually, to be honest with you, I tried a keto maintenance. I tried to do a ketogenic diet at one point where I wasn't losing weight. I just wanted to see what a ketogenic diet would do to my body without cutting calories. And I couldn't even get in a maintenance amount of calories because it's so hard without carbs. just because it requires you to get so much fat in to make up the calories that it's very tough. So if I was trying to bulk, I mean, right now I'm consuming 4,000 calories bulking. If I had to do it without carbs, it would be nearly impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Can you imagine? Yeah, I mean, our friend that was doing this was having like 500 grams of fat a day. That's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
disgusting,
That's
man.
disgusting. Yeah, it's not even like fun.
I could probably do it for one day if I had to work for that, but then it would just become too much of a chore, you know?
But it's like, at what point you would just eat butter? Like
You'd
seriously,
have
at what
to.
point, you what do you do? Because you have to keep the fat, the protein down. You obviously got to keep the carbs down. What do? You eat butter, literally. That's probably the
Well,
only
that's
thing
the
you
thing. A lot of people, and I said this to him too, and he realized that was true. But a lot of people don't. They think that just because you take carbs out of the diet that it's ketogenic. It's not. If protein is too high, it's just an inefficient way to get glucose, you know? So your body's going to make glucose from the protein. So you're just doing it inefficiently. So you have to keep the protein low to moderate and the fat's really high. So everybody who thinks, oh, I'm doing keto because I pulled carbs out of the diet, you're probably not even in ketosis because your protein is high enough.
Yep.
So a real keto diet is even harder than you think. It's not just removing carbs. It's also making the majority of your calories come from fat.
Yeah. Dude, I wanted to tell you, I'm changing the subject totally. My chest is so sore, man. I purchased a slingshot from Mark Bell, and I'm using it to overload in my training. I'm just trying something new. Again, this is why we know how things work, because we're always experimenting and trying with things that are new. So trying to overload my bench, and I didn't feel it until like now, man. But my chest is really sore, really sore. I'm surprised how sore it is, actually. I reached down for some before. I'm like, ooh, what is that? I haven't been this sore in a while. So it'll creep up on you tomorrow because you used it. I used it yesterday. You're using it today.
Yeah, I used it today, so yeah, I'll feel it. I'll probably feel it tomorrow. I mean, I don't really feel too fatigued today, but we'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to catch up to you.
Do you want to get the results you've always dreamed of? Do you want coaches that genuinely care, are professional, and get back to you in a timely manner? Do you want to be stronger, healthier, and look better naked? Then let me tell you, New York Muscle Radio is definitely your answer. Since working with them, I can hardly believe the results.
They coached me through a post-contest reverse diet and all the way through to an off-season strength program.
These two fitness geniuses have pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and in the process, I have been able to make big jumps on all of my major lifts.
In 14 weeks, I added 100 pounds to my powerlifting total and smashed my first meet.
Since working with them, I've added 55 pounds to my squat, 50 pounds to my deadlift, and 20 pounds to my bench press.
And in 12 weeks, I dropped over 10 pounds of body fat and added over 20 pounds to all my lifts.
I have never had as amazing of glutes as I have training with them. So I can say, no matter what your goals are, you're guaranteed to be stronger, healthier, and let's face it, better looking if Pete and Anthony are your coaches.
So if you are tuning in to listen and learn from the huge array of knowledge these two have, or if you want to hire them as your coaches, you will not be disappointed.
New York Muscle Radio is the best in the business.
You heard it from our New York Muscle Radio clients. Do you want to join our team and reach your fitness goals? Visit NewYorkMuscleRadio.com for all our coaching programs.
But I'll tell you what, when I'm done, my biceps are humongous. Humongous. Like that, bam!
My name is Anthony Bevilacqua, and I'm the host of New York Muscle Radio podcast. My arms have been a weak point for years. When I started training, my arms measured 11 inches. Even after many years of hardcore training, nothing would get them to grow. With the help of my co-host, Big Pete, we set out on a mission to gain 1 solid inch to my arms in 12 weeks.
In the greatest experiment of all.
12 weeks later, this program finally helped me get 18-inch arms. The 12-week arm experiment, the ultimate arm growth program, ebook, the audio book, and the workout video. Pick up your copy now on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
Hey, great coffee.
Doesn't it taste good as Fresh Perk?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, their coffee can't hold a candle to yours.
Caffeine, the world's only instant coffee that's fortified with muscle-building protein. Visit BuyProteinCoffee.com now.
Damn.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was like trying to check out what brand it was. Like I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean,
What can I do?
you gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutylicious program.
Glutylicious.
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it. But don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutylicious ass.
Glutylicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
What's up, New York Muscle Radio listeners? It's your co-host, Big Pete Kacharian, and I'm glad you're all listening. Put down that tilapia and asparagus. Learn how to get bigger, stronger, and leaner eating what you want. Pick up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. But for now, let's get to the show.
All right, let's move on to today's topic. So, gaining fat but not gaining muscle. I want to talk about these 4 mistakes that you're definitely making if you're trying to gain some muscle, but you just seem to be gaining fat. This is a common thing that I've experienced before, that I've experienced, that I've seen people go through, and common things that I've heard. So, I mean, have you ever tried gaining muscle, man, and just got fat? Have you ever tried that? Because I've never heard that side from you.
Trying to gain muscle and just got fat?
Yeah.
Not really. I never actually got fat while trying to gain muscle, but I have had phases where I put on more body fat than I should have. But I never had a problem where it went overboard.
Fat, not muscle.
No, but I wouldn't say that. I still gain muscle.
Okay, let me rephrase the question for you, Pete. Have you ever been in a caloric surplus, Pete, where you've gained too much fat and not that much muscle?
Yes. I've had that.
Yeah, then that's my question to you.
Yeah, because but the truth is when you're in a caloric No, because let me explain it. Because if you're in a caloric surplus, generally you're gonna gain some body fat along with muscle. It's inevitable. Now, the ratio at which you do it is going to determine if it's successful or not. If you're gaining too much fat and a little bit of muscle, then your bulk is out of control or something's not going right. So I've had that happen before, but then there's people that just gain fat and they don't even gain muscle. I've seen that before too, where they say they're bulking and they don't even put muscle on. They just get fat.
No, but the funny thing is those same people will actually tell you, yeah, man, look at my arms. They look jacked.
I know.
I'm like, really?
There's a lot of delusional people,
Delusions. All right, so let's go. Let's roll, man. Mistake number 1, and this is the biggest mistake, going on a YOLO bulk, perma-bulking, and not keeping track of calories. Again, so many people just, I want to gain some muscle, so I'm just going to eat whatever I want. Bad move. You have to keep track of your calories because, again, your body doesn't care if it comes from chicken and spinach or it comes from pizza and Pop-Tarts. You have to be in a caloric surplus, meaning you have to be eating over the amount of calories. The food choices doesn't matter. So, if with that said, a lot of, especially for skinny guys, especially I could say for me in the beginning, I went on a YOLO bulk and I didn't gain anything because I wasn't eating enough. I was just eating all healthy food, thinking I'm going to gain so much. I didn't gain a thing. So for me, it was the opposite. I wasn't gaining fat, but I wasn't gaining any muscle either. So I was in a pure maintenance spot. So again, you have to keep track of the calories because that's going to be the only thing that matters. Again, and then going in the opposite side of it, people just gorge themselves and eat too much and eat too many calories and just end up getting super fat that way too.
Yeah, see, the problem with that is people just associate the weight gain with muscle gain, and it doesn't work like that. Your body can easily put on a pound of fat in a day. It's not going to put on a pound of muscle in a day. It doesn't work that fast. So if that scale is moving up and you're gaining 2 or 3 pounds a week, you can bet the majority of that's going to be, it's not going to be lean body mass. It's probably going to be fat. It could be water weight. It could be extra glycogen. It's just all weight that's not going to help improve your physique. It's not going to help improve your strength. It's just extra weight that your body has to carry around and extra body fat that you're going to have to burn off. So that's where the problem with the perma bulk or the YOLO bulk comes in, just because people don't even realize what kind of weight they're adding to their frame. They see the scale go up and they think that they're making progress, but they're actually moving backwards by just adding body fat. So the only way you can really be sure that you're moving at the appropriate rate is to track everything. You have to measure, how fast you're putting on weight. You want to keep it to, a normal range of weight gain per week, per month. You have to look at it like that. Like if you're going to gain 5 to 10 pounds of muscle a year as a natural lifter, which is considered good progress, then anything more than 5 to 10 pounds on the scale in a year is going to be more than just muscle. It's going to be some body fat. It's going to be water. It's going to be glycogen. So, if you're 180 pounds right now and you want to get to 200, don't think that you're going to put 20 pounds of muscle on in 1 year unless you're just starting to train, because you will get some newbie gains, and that is possible. But if you've been lifting a few years and you want to bulk up to 200, just expect that you're going to put some body fat on.
Yeah, and this is probably another mistake too, but I'm going to include it in with this mistake. Trying to get to a certain weight too is also a problem. This is what leads to YOLO bulking, like Pete said. For me, I've always wanted to be 220, but the heaviest I've ever gotten was like 216, 217, and it was just too much weight. I couldn't do it anymore because I was just getting fat chasing the number on the scale. I wasn't getting any bigger by doing that. I was getting bigger, but in other places that I didn't want to get bigger. So you can't chase a number on the scale. Like Pete said, you can only gain a certain amount of muscle in a year, whether that number is 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 12 pounds, whatever that number is. So forcing a bulk and just keep pounding in the calories is not going to do that. The funny thing enough, man, I actually want to try that again, but I want to see what happens to my strength. So that's why I want to do it. I want to see what will happen if I gain weight, not stupidly, but I want to see what happens if I try to push to 220. What would happen to my strengths? But then I'm afraid to diet down because then I'd be afraid to lose all that, even though that wouldn't happen. But still, like it would be a long process for me to try to bulk to 220 and then come down. That would be tough. I'd be fat.
Yeah,
though, man.
Well, you have to think now too, especially for us, the amount of time we've been training. We're lucky if we gain 5 pounds in a year of muscle. At this point, to add 5 more pounds of muscle to our frame in a year, I consider that success, honestly. So if you're gonna, what are you weighing right now? 190, 199, 200, something like that.
I mean, yeah, in the morning I'm 199.
So if you had to go up to 215 again, that's another 15 pounds you got to throw on you. You got to think realistically, muscle-wise, that's going to take you like 3 years, if you do everything correctly. So if you go to put 15 pounds of muscle on within the next 6 months or something like that, you can bet that most of it's going to be fat, water weight. You probably will gain a little bit of muscle with it. You'll definitely gain some lean body mass. But then you got to burn it off anyway, So it all depends. I mean, with your strength goal being the primary focus, it could aid you a little bit, to be honest with you. I don't really see that amount of weight doing so much. You'd probably see some big differences when you got even heavier, but overall your pound for pound strength probably will go down anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point too. But still, man, an extra 10 pounds, that's got to change leverages. That would have to make a huge difference. And I'm just thinking out loud to you. If I did gain, let's just say I ended up at 215 again, that's got to change my leverages. If I stood there for a year at that weight, that's got to change leverages and just strengths at that leverage for a while. I would say that's permanent change, because then if I dieted down, I would obviously diet down slow. I wouldn't rush to diet down. So I'd have to hypothetically keep that.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I don't even know if it would be worth it in terms of the amount of weight you'd have to put on for the strength gain you'd get in return, because we know in 6 months from now, you're going to be stronger than you are right now, regardless if you put weight on or not.
Don't shoot down my idea, man. I'm going to be 220 ripped. That's
all right, go for it. You report it, and let's see what happens. You want to be the guinea pig? Go for it, man.
Thank you, man. See, don't shoot down my dreams.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, even like, I'll use myself as an example. I don't know. I haven't figured this out because strength is not really my primary focus right now. But when I was like sitting around 180, about 180, 185, my 1 rep max has moved up now to about like my 4 or 5 rep max, and I'm 195. So like I gained about 10 pounds, let's say. I gained 10 pounds and moved my 1 rep max up to my 5 rep max. I don't even know what my 1 rep max is right now. But with the 10 extra pounds added to my frame, I don't think I've actually added any significant strength in relation to my 1 rep max. You know what I mean?
My strengths.
So it helps me get stronger. I got stronger. Did we play that
clip on the podcast?
Yeah, we did. So they know what we're talking about if they listen to the last podcast. But so what I'm saying is, pound for pound, especially if you're a competitive powerlifter, you get judged based off your Wilks score, which is basically relative to your body weight, how much weight you're lifting. So if you move up in weight, then your strength has to go up too. And a lot of times people will move up a weight class, but their strength doesn't reflect moving up a weight class. they might get a little bit stronger, but now for their weight, they're actually weaker than they were when they were lighter. Because Anthony, actually, I think you had a similar situation too, right? When you were lighter, your Wilks was like off the chart.
Yeah.
And, and you got
what do you mean,
stronger.
when I dieted
when you
down?
dieted down, yeah.
When I was in the 83 kilo class, you mean?
Yeah, didn't you have very high Wilks when you were lighter?
No, honestly, it was about the same because my
same?
strength went down. But that was because I was so lean, dude. There was no way.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep that up. There was no way. And the leverages were so bad because I had nothing to push off of.
Yeah, dude, you would like contest lean doing powerlifting. It was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah. I was always the leanest one there.
Yeah. You're always the one that should have been in the weight class above, but you kind of just snuck into the lighter weight class.
I remember someone asking me, "Oh, you're in the 93 kilo class?" Like, nah, 83. And they looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, that was one of those meets that me and you did. Some kid came up to us and he's like, "Dude, you guys are big for what were we, 93? What were we?
83.
We were 83. He's like, "Dude, you guys are big for 83." I'm
Yeah,
like, "Dude, I'm
fun.
like 173 pounds right now."
And I was 174.
Yeah, I'm like, we are both light as shit right now. We are small.
Man. You know what it was for me? I always wanted to be big. So, for me to be big, that's why I always try to insist on getting there, just because that number in my mind is always unattainable. Like, you can never get that big,
Yeah,
so for me, it's like,
when you get to be 230, you're still going to think you're small.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So where is big for you,
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I don't think it has a concrete answer. It's always going to be a new number.
Yeah. Ah, damn, I'm looking for that clip, man, to play, and I can't fucking find it. My strengths! They seem to have gone. I can't find it. I'm trying to look for it. I can't find it. This movie's so great.
That is not Hercules. And who is that monster who looks as if he has come straight from the kingdom of the underworld?
Oh, no, this is a motion picture, a play. Really, you mustn't take yourself so seriously.
He doesn't even look like me. Look.
What are you doing? Oh, wow.
Does he?
Does he? Ha ha ha. This is a great movie, guys. If you haven't seen Hercules in New York, you're missing out. You gotta watch that movie. Such a great movie. They actually dubbed that movie. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
it was terrible.
Don't watch the dubbed version. Watch the one of him talking. It's insane. It's so great.
Yeah, you'll probably get like 2 minutes into the dubbed one before you shut it off.
Did you ever watch the dubbed one?
Yeah, for about 2 minutes and then I shut it off.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to mistake number 2. And we've mentioned this in previous podcasts before. I don't know what number it was. It would have been helpful if we would have looked it up. But mistake number 2 is night. Jesus Christ. I have that song Du hast in my mind. Nein. Du hast. So mistake number 2 is not cycling carbs. I'll let you take this one since this is your shtick.
Yeah, this is something that I was guilty of early on because, again, I had that mindset, bigger is better, more food is better. You're only going to get bigger if you keep eating more. And, that's true to some extent, but even if you do everything right, like what we were talking about before, eating only enough that you put muscle on and fat at the appropriate rate so that you're not putting on excess fat and a little bit of muscle. You're putting on the correct amount, as much as your body's going to allow at the rate you allow. Even if you do everything perfectly, the fact is eventually you're going to have to continue to add calories as that weight goes up. And that comes with one major flaw. And the one major flaw is that if you keep pushing the calories, your carbs are going to get high, and the higher your carbs get, the lower your insulin sensitivity is going to become. So you're going to eventually not respond to those carbs the same way as you did in the beginning because you're bombarding your system with carbs on a constant basis. So what'll happen is now when your insulin sensitivity goes down, we've talked about this a lot of times, your body's going to be more likely to take those carbs and store them as fat rather than store them as muscle or to go towards building muscle. So those carbs are not going to be used properly for the muscle building process. So what's one way to combat that? Well, basically what you can do is you could go on a dieting phase. You can kind of take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, rinse and repeat, or you can just cycle those carbs to keep your insulin sensitivity high. So what you can do is, even though you're bulking and your main goal is building muscle, you can have days of the week where you go lower with your carbs. You could have phases where you do pull them back a little bit more. I recommend for most people just to cycle them throughout the week. And I think it's good, especially with the deeper you are in your bulk, to have a day or two where your carbs are pretty low. Even if you're in a gaining phase and your calories are over maintenance, having days where the carbs go low just so that your body resensitizes itself to insulin. Because that's what you always want to keep. You want to keep that a main focus, especially while you're gaining. Because once you lose that, once your insulin sensitivity goes down, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, and you're going to have a harder time building muscle, and you're going to have an easier time storing fat. So even having days where your calories are a bit lower and they're not quote-unquote bulking days, in the grand scheme of a bulking phase, you're going to actually make more progress by having days where those carbs are lower.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've never really done before. I've done it a little. I've had like low carb days. So I've never really cycled carbs. I mean, I've had like low days before in a bulk, and it definitely does help keep your weight low. So this is something that I'm experimenting with you. I'm having you handle my diet again, and I'm done dieting. I'm reverse dieting now, so I'm having you handle this. So we'll see what this actually works out. I mean, so far I'm 1 week into carb cycling. I actually lost another pound, but that's expected because my calories went up. So tis how it goes. Yeah. All right. Mistake number 3, and this is a good one. Not training hard enough. I mean, a lot of guys just think that they need to just eat in a caloric surplus. But like Dorian Yates said, you have to be outside of your comfort zone. You have to push yourself. You have to constantly be progressing in the gym, constantly be adding weight to the bar, constantly be adding reps. I mean, the other day I did 425 for 8 reps for 3 sets. That's a volume PR for me. I mean, it may not be a lot to some of you listening. It may be a lot to some of you listening. But that's a volume PR for me. It doesn't matter what anyone else does, but it matters for me. The last time I looked, I only did, I think it was like 405 for 3 sets of 8. So I gained 20 pounds in that lift. So I'm improving by doing that. And this is why it's so important to have a journal, because you can actually look back and see it. But I've added 20 pounds to that lift, in that rep range. So I'm improving. And this is what's actually going to force muscle on. A lot of people, like I said, they just go to the gym and they just work out, and that's not enough to gain muscle. So something like the New York Strong program, which can be found on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, that type of a program is the same program that I use, basically. And we're teaching you how to constantly add weight to the bar, and then you keep applying and applying and applying, and over the years, you start adding weight. I mean, I'm telling you, I added 20 pounds. That was probably... I was like 7 weeks out last time, so that was like 9 or 10 weeks ago. So I added 20 pounds in 9 or 10 weeks ago.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing too, because people don't realize the longer that you do this, the more you're going to actually have to force growth through your training. It's not going to happen by accident. Even if you go in the gym and you just train heavy, eventually when you get up to your point where you're reaching near your genetic potential, you can't just walk in the gym and train hard. Built muscle when you were, a newbie, when you were an intermediate. But now, if Anthony walked into the gym and every single day he just tried to pull more weight on the deadlift bar, he tried to push more on a bench press, he's not gonna get anywhere. His training is, it's optimally periodized. There's the whole progression built into it, and that's the only way he can continue to grow at this point. He can't just go in and lift heavy. It just doesn't work like that. So he's got to train hard, and he's also got to train smart to continue putting on muscle and to get stronger at this point. So if that's not in place and he's bulking on a high amount of calories, he's just going to get fat. That's just what's going to happen. So it's even more so crucial that his training is harder and more optimal the deeper he gets into his lifting. As he gets older, as he trains more, as he puts more muscle on, as he gets stronger, he has to take it even a step further just to get a little ounce of muscle. In the beginning, you can kind of do everything wrong, and as long as it's more than you're doing, you're going to see progression. But that's why it's more important, the more advanced you get, to really hone in on your training and then your nutrition, obviously, as well. But if that training's not there and your nutrition's on point, all you're going to do is you're going to just store body fat. That's really all that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, for me, doing the New York Strong program, which is essentially the program that I'm doing, that was really the only time I've actually seen significant amount of changes happen in a short period of time. It's actually pretty nice knowing that I can confidently follow a program and actually get results from it and gain muscle. I mean, we see it this time. I dieted down, man, 6 weeks. I lost a decent amount of fat in 6 weeks, and I kind of unveiled like a new physique since the last time. So I'm excited about that. I mean, this is the heaviest I've been at the leanest I've been.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that.
You've
too.
seen that change, so it's not like it's not, and it's all from the New York Strong program.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It takes it. It's almost like watching grass grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
for sure.
if you look at pictures of yourself from 6 months ago or a year ago, you see, wow, there's a big difference. But while you're watching it week after week, it's like you don't even see it happening. You know, that's the way it goes, and that's where people get frustrated. But when you have that log, when you're keeping track of everything, you can see the little progression here and there. It's like one step forward at a time. It's not a big jump. People want that big jump, but the more you get into this, the further you get, you're going to take smaller steps until you're just basically tiptoeing, you know?
Yeah. All right, mistake number 4, too, is not optimizing hormones. I mean, this is something, again, we've been talking about, and this is kind of new for the podcast, but we're also putting together the course of maximizing testosterone. Not optimizing hormones is another thing, too. I mean, you could be doing everything right, but if you're not eating certain foods or you're not eating enough fiber in a day, you know, your hormones can be out of whack, and that's crucial. I mean, we've talked about this before on the podcast too. The more testosterone you have in your system, the more likelihood you are to gain muscle. So how do you keep testosterone high? You know, you have to make sure that you're not getting super fat. You know, you're optimizing your bulk. You're not getting crazy fat. Making sure that you're having your supplements, certain supplements that you need. You know, so like zinc is a good supplement to take. Calcium is good too. You know, making sure that your estrogen levels are not high. You know, not consuming a lot of foods with soy in it, because as we've learned, you know, time and time and again from Big Pete on this podcast, you know, soy is the evil. And he's right, man, because we've had people, you know, write into us saying that they've took soy out of their diet and noticed huge difference in performance in the gym, hitting PRs. So these are the things you have to do. You have to make sure you're eating good in order to optimize your hormones, as well as eating within the context of what you're trying to do. So I understand that you're maybe in a surplus, but still having stuff like Pop-Tarts and stuff that's filled with soy, that's kind of counterproductive to what you want to do. So eating better quality foods, you know, being a flexible dieter, you get the label of being stupid with your food intake and trying to eat like Pop-Tarts all day. And I agree with that, man. A lot of flexible dieters take it too much to the extreme. Again, I've been eating more sweet potatoes now because they're good. You know, they're very high in minerals. You know, there's a lot of things in foods that we need, and we have to make sure that we're getting them. So again, 90% of your food should be clean. The other 10, you know, can be whatever you want, but it has to be within context. And that's the only way to really optimize hormones.
Yeah, that's really the main thing in it. It comes from diet. The other thing is, you know, just letting yourself get fat, because even if you're eating properly, but you let yourself put on excess body fat, your hormone levels are going to adjust. They're not going to be the same. You know, generally when you're fatter, a lot of times there's more estrogen in your body, just simply based on the fact that, you know, the aromatase enzyme, which is an enzyme in your body that converts testosterone to estrogen, is found in your fat cells. So you put more fat on, and in theory, you're going to have more aromatase enzymes. So a lot of times people just let themselves get quote unquote fat, even eating clean foods. What happens is they end up putting more estrogen in their body, or allowing their body to convert more estrogen, and they end up, you know, putting on more fat and not building as much muscle because their hormones are out of balance. So you got to keep yourself relatively lean. You don't have to be shredded, but you don't want to have excessive body fat too. And you got to keep your diet in check. You know, you, like Anthony said, as a flexible dieter, if you feel like eating a Pop-Tart for breakfast one day, that's okay. But, you know, if you're eating that all day just because it fits your macros, then, you know, you're obviously not going to see the results you want, because you're slacking in the nutrition department. You're going to get way more out of having a more balanced diet. And when I mean balanced, I mean getting, 90% of your food from clean foods. But when you want to fit that stuff in, fit it in. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's your primary source for food, you're slacking on a lot of vitamins and minerals that you could be getting eating much more high quality food. That's for sure.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, man. All right. So those are the 4 mistakes that almost everyone's making when trying to gain muscle and end up getting too much fat. So again, keep these 4 things in check and you're going to have good gains. And guys, don't forget to share this episode with all your friends. If you know someone that's just getting fat by trying to put on muscle, this is the perfect episode for them. So share it with all of them. Let all of your friends know about the New York Muscle Radio Network, as it helps this network grow. And we bring on a lot more good people like you guys listening to this right now. We like you. We love you, having you as a listener. And we would love more of your friends as listeners, because you guys are why we do what we do. So we're trying to get the good word out there about stuff that actually works. And we need more people like you. So be sure to share this episode with everybody again. And as a thank you, head on over to newyorkmuscleradio.com/getjacked. JAKKED for your free 12-week program, a little gift from us. And again, if you're interested in maximizing hormones and testosterone, head on over to newyorkmuscleradio.com/maxtest and get on that pre-launch list for the product dropping on Monday. Again, guys, this is going to be really sick, and I'd love to see everyone a part of it. All right, big guy, your turn.
All right, guys. Pete and Anthony, New York Muscle Radio, and we're out.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.